Hi, welcome back. So the 2.7 MOC came out around last week, and it's honestly probably one of the weirdest ones in a while. The thing that stands out to me the most about this MOC cycle is how absolutely broken any AoE unit is, simply because of the trotters. You may look at Svarog in the first half of Stage 12 and the elites that follow, and think that Feixiao is one of the best matchups against this guy, and while she can definitely clear, most people using Feixiao against the stage will be surprised how bad she is compared to basically any other good matchup. Without Robin, I doubt most Feixiao players will be able to clear this Varog in under 5 cycles. If you can, good job. I'm underlining the word most here. Is this because of HP inflation? Well, maybe yes, maybe no. I think it's a little deeper than that, and I think that Feixiao's lack of AoE attacks will really start becoming way more of a weakness for her in the coming days. So in this video, we're going to be talking about how Feixiao might fall off in 3.0, and not just because of power creep. Really quickly before we start, you should like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this in the future, and join the Expression Discord server for a lovely community to hang out with. I really want to hear or read what you guys think of this topic, so make sure to comment below and add to this discussion with your anecdotes. Now enough yapping, let's get on to it. The best units against Varog right now are going to be Firefly and Acheron, and it's precisely because of the trotters as I said earlier. These things deal damage to the main enemies of the stage when you kill them, and it's a pretty significant chunk of damage. Simply ignoring them is quite a bit stupid. Now I believe they put these things in the 2.7 MOC precisely to prepare us for the 3.0 MOC 12 second half. They did that in reverse with the past MOC, either in 2.5 or 2.6, I can't quite remember, where they added the exo toughness on enemies in preparation for Fugue. This time, as I said, it's in reverse, where they add the trotters in preparation for an enemy instead of a playable character. We already saw the 3.0 MOC Stage 12 boss in the Nameless Faces trailer right here, so I'm going to be talking about it without the fear of causing leaks or spoilers. You've been warned though if you don't want to find out what it does for any reason or the other. So anyway, this boss spawns in giant soul stealer spears that you have to destroy, and when you destroy them, it deals a shitload of damage to the main boss, around 500k. A lot of people were really worried when they saw the somewhere around 10 million HP this boss had, but in fact it's really not that much when you consider the fact that killing each of these spears does like 10 to 20% damage to the boss. If you kill 4, that's around 40 to 80% damage done. Of course, those aren't the exact numbers, I'm just estimating. A worst case scenario, you only have to do like 40% to 50% of its HP directly through your characters, which isn't actually that much compared to before, so there's no HP inflation there. In fact, this is a very good mechanic in my opinion, and I actually think this boss is pretty well designed. Definitely not as good as something like the Dino or Aventurine bosses in the Apocalyptic Shadow, but it does seem to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see what they do with it in the Apocalyptic Shadow, honestly. Anyway, it's the same thing. The trotters deal damage to the main enemies of the stages, while the giant Soul Stealer spears deal damage to the main boss as well. Either of these things are best dealt with using a lot of AoE attacks. Acheron, Aglayan 3.0, Big Herdan 3.0, Firefly, Rappa, even Jingli Yu, who is one of the fastest clearing characters in the current MOC actually, will all work very well against these trotters and the new boss because of all the compounding AoE damage you will get. With AoE, you will damage the main enemy as well as the trotter, or again the giant spears in the case of the 3.0 boss, and when you do kill the trotters, they will deal damage to the boss. Compare that to when you use Feixiao or Boothill for example, you're only dealing damage to one enemy at a time of course. It's either the trotters or the main boss, you won't be dealing nearly as much overall damage as an AoE character, which is exactly why Feixiao isn't as good as Acheron in this MOC. Take for example my Acheron team that cleared in 4 cycles, while my friend's Feixiao, who I have used in many examples before, hasn't even cleared the MOC 12 yet. But even for those who have, most Feixiao players I talked to said that she cleared pretty slow compared to usual. Comparing Svarog in 2.6 to Svarog in 2.7, he gained around 600,000 HP maybe, I'm not really sure. But when you use AoE instead of single target, there's almost 0 actual HP inflation compared to 2.6. The 2.6 MOC cycle buff didn't favor one over the other, so both performed around the same, with Feixiao definitely being a little better, but it also did way less damage and it did bouncing damage. So that means you could have lost damage to the hand that Svarog spawned, while the current trotters just damaged Svarog and the elite directly, dealing a lot more damage overall of course. So TLDR, the trotters in 2.7 favor AoE way more than single target, and with the increase in HP and the buff in 2.6 being weaker, the single target nature of Feixiao is much bigger of a weakness this time around, compared to someone like Acheron who can deal damage to both the trotters and the main boss, dealing way more damage in the process. So how does that give a bad omen for how Feixiao and how she might fall off in 3.0? Let's talk about that. First things first, Big Herda is obviously coming out, and she is stronger than both Acheron and Feixiao, with around a 5 to 20% increase in damage depending on the investment. She's stronger, but she doesn't make Acheron and Feixiao useless as some people are tempted to believe for some reason. She's obviously an AoE DPS character, and so is Aglaia, who's coming in 3.0 as well. My Day coming in 3.1 is also an AoE DPS character. Castries coming in 3.2 is also most likely an AoE DPS character, and while we don't know enough about her kit, the 3.0 boss being the main boss in, well, 3.0, having quantum weakness and being massively shielded towards AoE characters, hints towards Castries, the possibly most important character up until 3.2, who was Quantum, being AoE as well. This not only means that Feixiao is going to be used less because of the number of enemies, but also because almost none of the new characters are wind, meaning she'll see even less use compared to someone like Boothill, who's a lot more versatile than Feixiao. I do expect Boothill to fall off more than Firefly and Rappa though, which is unfortunate because just a couple days ago I was saying that he's now better than Firefly in my opinion. The next Wind DPS units to come out and the next Hunt DPS unit to come out, Feixiao will see more use again. Now, more proof that Feixiao will see way less use and thus quote-unquote fall off in 3.0, the fact that Jingliu is one of the best characters for this current MOC. The second half bug boss is obviously weak to ice and is pretty AoE, summoning little on the side that give it vulnerability and deal damage as well. Further cementing the fact that they're doing this not only to shield Big Herda, so that people who don't have AoE ice DPS units, aka Jingliu, can see that their account is lacking something so they have to pull Big Herda, but also goes back to how they added the Trotters to prepare for something similar to 3.0. The bug boss, by the way, will also be in the first half of the 3.0 MOC 12. So anyway, Jingliu is really good against this boss because it's ice weak and AoE. Jingliu is widely regarded to be one of the DPS units that fell off the most, but now she's got one of the fastest average cycles out of all units surprisingly. Precisely because she's an incredible matchup against the current cycle. Now recently a lot of people have been also doom posting the hell out of Acheron, saying she fell off hard and is worse than Feixiao by a significant amount. Now, I obviously disagree, I still think they're more or less equal. And I also think that Acheron is, obviously again, better in this 2.7 MOC cycle, but would also be way better in 3.x and further. Of course, again, because of the AoE factor, and Acheron being an AoE DPS unit. However, there's also the extra factor of Aglaia, who is a lightning DPS unit as well, meaning there's even more reason to believe that Acheron is going to be way better than Feixiao in 3.x. I do also believe that she's better than Aglaia, but some people believe otherwise. She's going to be shielded way more than Acheron 3.x, but I believe that wherever Aglaia is going to be useful, Acheron is even more useful because they're both AoE lightning DPS units, with Acheron being more AoE, and from what I've seen, deals more damage. They're more or less going to be basically the same in 3.x though. So the main point of this video isn't to say Feixiao is a bad DPS unit, she's obviously not whatsoever, but it's mostly making the point that they can literally pick and choose whatever character they want to be good, whether intentionally or not. Feixiao will be good when the situation calls for Feixiao, and Acheron and Jingliu will be good when the situation calls for Acheron and Jingliu. Basically, just invest horizontally, pull for who you like, and you can win. This game is really not that hard. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching and listening to me yap uselessly. Like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this in the future, and join the Express Run Discord server for a fun community all about video games and anime. It's a very fun place to hang out, so you should join. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time.